semicolons. Semicolons are a punctuation mark that learners of English often don't use correctly, and it's explained sometimes as being between a comma and a period in terms of its strength. So a comma pauses and a period stops things completely. A semicolon is between that idea. It stops things a little more strongly, but not as much as a period. It is often used to connect ideas, to show that there is a connection between them without actually using a connecting word. So we're going to show here how semicolons are used mostly for separating independent clauses in English. When you have two independent clauses, you cannot separate them with just a comma. Semicolons are needed if you would prefer to have a stronger connection between the independent clauses than putting a period. So they are especially used when you have a transition word. These are also called conjunctive adverbs. Words like however, therefore, nevertheless, in fact. And you can see an example here. Punctuation marks are small, semicolon. However, comma, they are important. However is the conjunctive adverb. It's a transition word. It is showing a relationship between this independent clause, punctuation marks are small, and this independent clause. They are important. We need to have a semicolon after the first independent clause. We also need a comma to separate the transition word from the rest of the clause. So, very common use. Another time when you want to use semicolons between independent clauses again is for variety in your writing. Good writing mixes things up. You don't want the same structure again and again. So when you're writing, you might want to use some simple sentences, some compound sentences that have a coordinating conjunction, some complex sentences with dependent clauses and independent clauses. And then for variety, throw in a sentence with two independent clauses connected with a semicolon. Here's an example. After I moved to the US, I settled in quite quickly. I started my new job and signed up for English classes. Life was going well for me. Then, one day, everything changed. So first, I have a sentence with a dependent clause first and an independent clause second. This is a complex sentence. Then I have actually a simple sentence with just one subject and two verbs connected with a coordinating conjunction. Then I use a sentence with a semicolon, joining two independent clauses. There are also times when you use a semicolon to separate items in a list if it makes the list clearer. And this is especially true if there are commas inside the list or if the parts of the list start with numbers. However, that is a much less frequently used reason for the semicolon. So I want to just have you focus on this. This is when you typically, or even probably ever in your life, will need to use the semicolon.